Welcome to the 3Haunted podcast, where we bring you all things horror, supernatural, folklore, mythology, and all things that go bump in the night.
What's up, everybody? This is your co-host, Ashley Lunar Goddess, Gorilla Girl filmmaker and horror-loving cinephile. I'm just your average podcast-producing badass.
I'm John Thomas. Some would say that I go a little too far with my love of all things horror, paranormal, and meta, but I say, talk nerdy to me, and I'm all yours.
What's up, ghouls, gals, and all of our cryptid-loving pals out there? In today's episode, we'll be joined by fellow podcaster, cryptozoologist, and paranormal researcher Barnaby Jones. Barnaby is the founder and lead investigator for Cryptids, Anomalies, and the Paranormal Society, also known as C.A.P.S, based in Wisconsin. He's also the host of Whispers from the Dark podcast and Monsters on the Edge on the Untold radio network. We'll be discussing Bigfoot, the paranormal, and other cryptids. So put on your hiking boots, grab some snacks, and let's hit the trails.
But first, a word from our network sponsor.
Are you looking for more awesome podcasts? Head on over to withoutyourhead.com for access to the Without Your Head podcast network, where you'll find a variety of podcasts sure to keep you entertained and coming back for more. All right, bring us back, John Thomas.
Welcome back, everybody. Like Ashley said, we have the awesome, amazing podcaster, fellow podcaster, whatever the hell I'm trying to say, Barnaby Jones. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. Good to be here.
I would like to start first by saying I love Barnaby's name. Like, you sound like you are a character from a movie, Barnaby Jones, investigator and cryptozoologist. So, that's already exciting. I'm probably going to say your full name throughout the entire podcast. Barnaby Jones.
That's fine. For the older audience out there, I get it a lot that my name is a detective played by Buddy Epson on a TV show for over 8 seasons. And I get that a lot. Anytime I apply for a job or a loan or anything, like, is that your real name? And I'm like, that's my real name. Yeah, it's not a stage name for cryptozoology and stuff. It's literally my real name. So yeah,
Which makes it even better.
Yep.
Your parents won with that selection. So let's just come out the gate with it. What is C.A.P.S? I know I said the full acronym, but what is it? How did it get started?
Cryptids, Anomalies, and the Paranormal Society. When we started, it was a group of us that got together to investigate a specific property, and we started getting all this video and audio evidence and stuff, and I didn't know what to do with it, so we decided we were going to put out a YouTube video and kind of put it all out there, and it rolled on from there. We're like, well, this is really interesting. Now I want to do this, and I want to do this. And we started rolling with it. And when I came up with the name, I wanted it to have a decent acronym that actually said something. But I also wanted it to encompass every aspect of this phenomenon that we're investigating. So it's not just cryptids. It's not just a Bigfoot. It's not just your paranormal, your ghosts, your demons, angels, all that stuff of the paranormal. And it's not the anomalous stuff of everything else, from UFOs to portals and time loss and all this other things that are out there in the world. So it's all 3 of those phenomenon. Each member of our team focuses on a specific aspect of that. Obviously, I do cryptozoology, but I also do paranormal. I started with the paranormal and kind of grew into the cryptozoology, which is where I focus now. And by doing that, by having each member of our team focus on a different area, we can really delve into that aspect of what we're looking at. And yet, each member of the team that goes out to these different investigations brings their own side of that. So if one of us thinks, well, it's this, the other person says, well, no, hang on. In my research, we can look at it from this aspect and see that it also conforms to this, and it could have something to do with that. And so on, because you have all these different angles of people coming into the same phenomenon and looking at it. So that's what we do. And C.A.P.S, obviously I decided was going to be a playoff of the Atlantic Paranormal Society, and our original logo is very similar to that logo. But we decided that somebody kept saying that it looked like the Friends logo from the TV show and not the TAPS logo. So we designed a new one, which is the shield that you see everywhere now, which has the three pillars, and then the triangle is a UFO. If you see it in like decent quality, not an embroidery like that, but it has little dots in the corners to represent the lights on a triangular spaceship, and then obviously the footprint in the middle is Bigfoot. So yeah.
That's so cool. So how when you guys first started, you said it was a group of friends. How many were there when you first started it?
So I had been doing paranormal research originally, and I'll back up and tell the whole story here. Long story short, we ended up going up to Upper Michigan to this property called the Hayden Adventure, and it's a property where it's 80 acres of private property that was bought for hunting by Craig and Barb Salk, and they got a series of 3 game camera photos up there, and the middle one is shows what is possibly a Bigfoot. So they sent it into Finding Bigfoot. Finding Bigfoot came out, did an episode called the Super Youper episode of the property, and people wanted to see the property, wanted to see the picture, so they opened this up as the Hayden Adventure. And so in 2019, myself and my mom went up there and met with Craig and Barb and took the tour and everything, and found out about all these other things that were going on in Wisconsin, because I was always into the paranormal, always into not Bigfoot, into ghosts and ghost hunting and stuff like that. I was into Bigfoot and that too, but I was on that side where I realized or thought that these things were only in the Pacific Northwest, the Yetis over in Russia and stuff like that. I didn't realize that these things were all over the United States. Well, Craig told me about one of the speakers that they had at a recent convention called Linda Godfrey, who was famous for the Beast of Bray Road research and stuff. And she wrote all these books. As you can see, I have one behind me back here. That was the first one I read, Monsters on the Edge. Or Monsters Among Us. I'm sorry. I'm Monsters on the Edge. And so I read that book and a couple of her other ones. And I was like, well, man, there's Dogman and stuff now too, because I had never heard of that. And she talks about this property, this forest area in southern Wisconsin, in Burlington, Wisconsin, the Burlington Vortex. And that led me to researching with Mary Sutherland, who wrote a whole book on the Burlington Vortex. And I thought, here's an area that has Bigfoot, UFOs, supernatural, fairy activity, all in this one area. Why? Why is this stuff all right there? What's so special? So me and one of my ghost hunting friends that I was doing that stuff with went down there one night, and we had the very first time we didn't even go in the woods. We pulled into the little parking lot and just sat there. And because it got dark, I didn't want to wander off into woods I didn't know. And we started hearing this like noise coming towards us, big, and crunching and breaking branches and stuff. And we're like, well, this is, there shouldn't be anybody in there. There's nobody else in the parking lot. Is it a deer or something? And I have a huge spotlight at the time that plugged into my cigarette lighter, and I shined it along the edge of the woods. And as it hit this certain area, this branch pops up like something had been holding it down, looking out at us. And there's nothing else other than a person that could have done that. And so we sat there. Nothing else really happened. Whatever was there, I assume, was standing there the whole time, because we couldn't see it. And so we left. And I started telling a couple people about this. And a couple weeks later, myself, my mom, Derek, one of my coworkers, Michael, and his wife were the first 5 people that ever went out. And we went back to that same location. We went up on that little hill where the branch went up, and we found 9-inch barefoot footprints on the ground.
That had to be exciting.
Yeah. And so we kind of followed these trails, and they went back through the woods. You could follow the prints all the way back. Nothing castable. I mean, it was a soft, kind of hard dirt, so that you could like make impressions on it, but not in it. And we followed these tracks. They go back into a farmer's field in the back of the woods there. And we're like, okay, well, this is a dead end. We're not going to trespass on this property. So we went down into the woods, and we got to the base of this ridge. And you can either go up the ridge, which goes, it's actually a serpent mound is what is this thing is. So it's kind of like a snake-like shape back there. And if you go up the ridge, you go up to a power line cut, and then you cross into the other side of the woods. If you go on the bottom of the ridge, there's trails at the top and the bottom of this ridge, and then there's a marsh, and then there's another little bit of a ridge, and then that farmer's field on the other side. So we're over on this side at the base of that ridge, and we're hearing something move on top of the ridge. All of a sudden, we start hearing whistle coming from the top of the ridge, and then on the other side of the marsh, we hear another whistle, and they're just like, and we're like, that's a weird bird, whatever. And so we decide, and granted, like the only Bigfoot I've seen is on TV at this time, and I don't know nothing really about this, just a little bit of what Linda Godfrey wrote about and stuff. And I'm like, well, we're just going to go in here and, video. This is all on video. This is our first episode. If you want to watch it on our YouTube channel, this is our first episode, first ever. You can watch it all, hear it all, everything. And we go in and we're like, okay, we're going to go up on this ridge and see what's up there. As soon as we made that decision to go up that ridge, from the other side of the marsh, this huge branch cracks off, like something just ripped it off a tree. So half of our team ran back to the main trail, and the other half is like, "What was that branch break? What is going on in here?" And that time, I mean, we're not completely naive. We're looking at these whistles like, is that really what we think it is? That's a bird. It's got to be a bird. And then the branch happens, and we're like, that was big. That was a big branch crack, and you hear it on the video, and it does not give it justice as to how loud that was. And
Not a bird.
We went back in, and we went up on top of that ridge, didn't find anything, came out, went out onto the power line cut, and we got the deepest guttural growl that we have ever heard come out of that wood line.
Please tell me that was on camera.
It's on camera. Yeah, it's on the episode. You can hear all this. There's
Yes.
nothing in this that I'm telling you is not in that episode. So we gave it due time before we turned around and walked back in, but we walked back in, didn't find nothing. So we finished exploring the whole woods, and then at night, myself and Michael myself, Michael, and Derek went back in at night, and we went back up on top of that top ridge line. And as we're coming back out, I got a series of 3. At the time, we didn't have thermal video equipment. We just had a camera. It's a little handheld trigger, takes a picture. Not very good quality, but it was still a thermal camera. And I got a series of 3 pictures of something upright, and I thought it laid down at the time, but it actually walked down the back of that ridge into the other marsh of the power line cut. We walked a little further down the trail, and on the opposite side of the trail, we get one picture of what looks like half of a figure standing behind a tree, like looking out at us. And at the time, it just looked like this heat signature, kind of like something standing there. Well, when I got home and zoomed in on it, you can actually see like the conical shape of the head and the whole half of the whole body of an arm, a leg, and then the torso and head of this thing standing right behind a tree. We've gone back in and looked. That thing was 10 feet away from us. So that was the very first 2 expeditions we ever did as C.A.P.S. And we kind of got spoiled there because, yeah.
How far are you from that again?
It's lower Wisconsin for us. It's about a 2-hour drive or so.
That's not too bad. And have you, as you get bigger and your group expands, you guys go back there to see what you can find? Or was that kind of just your initial place and you've expanded out?
So we did the first episode, which was filmed between August and I think November of 2019. And we were in there almost every weekend because stuff just kept happening. We had full conversations with an entity that said it was the guardian of the forest. It was a fey creature. We had this EMF, thing talking yes, no answers questions. We had interactions with a shaman and some native spirits on the other side of the woods. There's 2 sides. There's like the magical fey side of the woods, and then you cross over and it's like this shamanic site on the other side. So there's 2 totally different energies of this woods area. And so we did that for then. And we wrapped up the episode, but we kept going back. So we actually did a return to Burlington Woods the following year episode, and we tried to like debunk a lot of this stuff. So we went in and we thought, well, all this energy, there's a power line cut. So is this energy coming off of the power lines? So we went in and we did 3 sets of readings throughout the day. So we went in early on and we took readings through the whole woods to see what it was at specific locations. Then we went in later, we took readings again to see if different times of day had more energy. And then at night, because more people come home, they turn on their TVs, their lights and everything, we wanted to see if more energy was flowing through these lines after dark. And we found that it was about the same amount of readings everywhere throughout the day. So when we're getting these power fluctuations of something talking to us or trying to communicate, that's not coming off these power lines. So we've done a lot of our stuff that we do is science based. We have mediums and that all on our team as well. And it's good because when you have that and you have the equipment, they're not the same thing. They don't work the same way or anything. So when you have these correlations of these person and equipment telling you the same thing, you have a lot stronger case for any of this stuff. It's really cool the way that our whole team can work that way. Your mic is muted.
I don't know how I hit that. You had originally asked the question, why that area? And I mean, given everything you're saying that you're able to pull, from the different aspects of the woods, how it has different energies and different presences that you're able to interact with, why do you think that is so heavy in one specific area?
Yeah, the more you learn, the more questions you have, and that's that. That's all I got for you. So I really don't know. Mary Sutherland, who used to own the Sci-Fi Cafe down there, she wrote The Haunted Burlington Woods. For anybody not familiar with her, she's amazing lady. She knows all kinds of stuff. She's had a lot of experiences. She does tours down there. She thinks that the whole Burlington area is a portal. And there's like secret tunnels and stuff that are under Burlington from back in the day. Like, I don't know if they're Underground Railroad or what her thought process was, but there's tunnels that run all under the city of Burlington. She's got documentation on that because she used to have this cafe and stuff there. So she's seen the tunnels and had them in her basement and that. And I really don't know. John Keel always wrote about these window areas. And there's, certain areas around the United States and the world, like Skinwalker Ranch. And there's another property down in Wisconsin, Lee Hample's Hayfield. And we've also done a lot of work down there. It's right off of Bray Road, where all the Beast of Bray Road sightings and stuff have been happening and stuff since the 1990s. The Mothman stuff was weird. There's so much like people issue with that whole story.
Right.
That we tried to tell it non-biased, and we tried to go in and just, is there anybody that can come forward and say, yes, we had an experience? All these people say, oh, I saw one, and it's all being reported. And then it's like, well, okay, but I want to talk to anybody. Anybody from any of those stories that said, yes, I saw it, yes, I had that experience. And we got the 3 of them. And then we get a couple from out of state. I've interviewed a couple people from Minnesota that have had an experience.
Oh, wow.
That has nothing to do with down there in Chicago. So they've been pretty good. Actually, my network producer, Doug Hychek, actually had an encounter with one. So that was one of the first ones out of Minnesota. And at that same convention where I met Doug, I actually had the guy that you see talking like against that wall. He was just a customer there, and he's the one that had the other encounter in Minnesota. And him and Doug's are very similar, where it just like flew over the top of their car as they're driving down the road. So you asked me why I thought that Burlington was an area that had high strangeness and what all that was. And then I said, well, John Keel talked about, the different window areas. And I said there was another one that we investigated, which was Lee Hample's property off of Bray Road. So that's where we started this whole train of derailment. Anyway, Lee Hample's property has been featured on several TV shows, from High Strangeness to The Beast of Bray Road himself, because he's had that on his property. He's got footprints of the creature on his property. And so he has all these weird phenomenon from orbs of light to weird creatures and UFOs. So we got the chance to do 2 different investigations on this property. And the first one is on our YouTube already. The second one is coming out this coming year, 2024. And it's really exciting, the stuff that we got on that one, because there's so much things that the equipment just stops working or doesn't work, and you think, well, it's broken or something, and then you take it home and it works perfect. You take it on the next investigation, it works perfect again, and you bring it to that property and it just shuts down. And the stuff that we got this past time when we were out there just leaves you scratching your head, just even more so than the first episode that we had. And the first episode is Wisconsin Skinwalker Ranch on our YouTube, Wisconsin C.A.P.S on YouTube channel. And it's our highest watched episode on our channel because it's phenomenal. So one of the things that happened at this time was we went out there. We wanted to capture as much evidence, as much data as possible. So we parked our van in the middle of this field. His whole hay field's like the size of a football field. And it's nothing special. It's just a hay field. He grows hay. He has a horse farm in Illinois, and he grows hay to feed his horses on this property. That's all it is. There's a barn and a hay field. And so we put trail cameras around the edge of the property. We had 3 of them. And each one was supposed to take 1 picture every 5 minutes. The 2 on the end of the property took no pictures. No pictures at all the entire night. Even though they were set to take 1 every 5 minutes. Nothing was captured. The 3rd one was set right straight out from the back of our van. So in line with our van in the middle of the field. And we were using an Ovilus 5B throughout the night to try and communicate with whatever was out there. We had night vision, we had thermal imaging, all this equipment. Our van has 4 security cameras that wrap around its roof, that it drives with them on, runs with it on, everything. We now have an RV. We've upgraded from the van, but at the time we have the van. And has big floodlights on the sides of it to illuminate whatever we're doing and stuff. And it has a backup battery in the back that runs all of our equipment. And that charges off solar panels on the roof, or it runs off of the alternator when the van is actually running. It has a solenoid that turns it on and off so it doesn't drain the front battery. And then it has a computer backup battery, so that if like you use it in your house, if your power goes out, your computer's still on, you can still save and shut down safely without losing anything. So we have the backup battery and then this other computer battery that runs our security cameras, And at one point in the night, all of this stuff starts going down. The battery is drained, so there's an alarm going off telling us that the battery's low. The backup battery turns on, turns off, turns on, turns off, turns on, turns off, and it won't stay on. It's just draining itself down as well. So then we're like, okay, well, let's turn on the van and make sure it's working. Well, now the internal lights in the van aren't working. Like, we hold the doors open, they don't come on. We shut the doors, none of that's working. It's just all this electrical failure in this van that should not be possible. Like, you would have to, I would have had to have a lot more stuff running than what I did, and it's no way this was right. So throughout the night, we had been using this Ovilus 5B to try and communicate with whatever was out there. And we got answers like triangle arrives and special hunting and all these weird, just creepy things. So while I'm sticking my head in the side of this van, I turn around to my mom, who has the Ovilus at the time, and I said, "Are you doing this? Like, is this you? Are you doing this?" And it says 2 words, as aggression. And just the hair on all of our arms stood up, and we're like, okay, yep, okay, we're done. And yeah, it's not like I don't want to get anybody wrong, because everyone's like, okay, you chickened out and you left. But here's the thing. If all of our equipment is malfunctioning, all of our cameras, all of our audio, all that stuff, we can't record any of this. It's just a story. So if something happens, this triangle descends from the sky, we're not going to have it on video anyway. So at this point, it's a story. It's my word versus everything else. Why are we staying? And if something bad is coming for us and the cameras go out, there's no evidence of what came and took us away.
What aggressively came to you.
So we honestly just threw everything in the van, literally picked it up, chucked it in the van, drove around the edge of the property, grabbed all the trail cameras, chucked them in the van, and went home. And so we got back and we're looking at these trail camera images. And the only one, like I said, that took any pictures was behind the van, straight out from it. So the van is in the middle of the field like this. And behind the van is this little like half moon shaped thing hovering above it. That security camera went out. It lost its IR filter where it switches from daylight to nighttime. So it's just a pure white screen now. That camera does not work since this happened either, by the way. And this little looks like a UFO kind of at an angle hovering behind the van. And there's 3 pictures of it kind of up here, then just kind of like hovering back behind the van. You can see it all in the episode. And I thought, well, that's weird. It looks like a UFO. And it's not in any of the pictures throughout the night. We didn't see it with our eyes or nothing like that. And then I got to not this past season, but the season before of Skinwalker Ranch. And they're showing pictures of, or I think it was video, but they just took screenshots of it, of their helicopter flying over the triangle. And underneath it is that same half rounded object that they had underneath there. And I'm like, oh my God, like that is the same thing that's in our pictures here. So it is phenomenal. And I will spoil this year a little bit. I actually got to go out last year to the property next to Skinwalker Ranch.
The Utah or Wisconsin Skinwalker Ranch?
Utah.
Oh, so jealous.
Okay.
So jealous.
I got permission to, I took they do a UTV tour of the Mesa, and they get to go up there and you can see the entire Skinwalker Ranch because it's their property. They own part of that Mesa, so they can take you up there and show you. And you can see down into there. And I got to do all that. And then I got to do an investigation from their property of the area. And I did not have like super weird stuff happen, but the one thing I had was they asked me to do some videography of their property because they have this campground. They just redid it. And they said, well, do you have a drone? And I said, yeah, but I'm not going to put it up. I'm not going to, spy on Skinwalker. That's not what I'm here for. And they go, no.
We want you to.
We would like you to try, if you're okay with it, to shoot the drone up and see if you can get video and pictures of our campground for our use. We hired a guy to do this, and his drone wouldn't even take off. So if you're okay with it, would you try and see if you could? And I went, I'm never going to see my drone again. Sure, why not? So I put my drone up again. I'm not going on Skinwalker. I'm doing what I was told. And I shot it up. I got full footage of their property, everything, and I backed it up the other way. So I went like, I don't remember exactly what it'd be like parallel to the, or not, parallel to the Mesa, kind of is where I was. So I was running from the front of the Mesa to the back of the Mesa like this, and that was fine. And then I went the other way to get a long shot of their property from the side, like looking straight at the Mesa. And you can hear the drone up in the air. I was about, I think like 400 feet up or something at the time. And it just got quiet. And I turned around and I looked up and I just watched the drone fall straight down 400 feet out of the sky.
Oh my gosh.
And the battery didn't die. I did not lose signal because if it did, it would home itself when the battery gets too low. So something just turned off my drone.
Just zapped it. Oh
Yep.
my gosh.
And I had to replace all the arms on it, all the motors, everything. So that's the one thing I'll tell you that happened so far from Skinwalker. But we are going to do a part 2 of our Wisconsin Skinwalker Ranch stuff. And it's already filmed some weird stuff out there, I'll tell you that, from Wisconsin's ranch, Lee Hample's property. And then there will also be part of the Skinwalker Ranch stuff that I investigated as well. So that's coming out this year.
So do you work with Lee then to get all of this access? Like, is he pretty nice to work with and works with you guys consistently?
Absolutely. Lee's a fantastic guy, Lee Hample. You can find him online. He's got a website, Lee Hample's Hayfield, and he does like speaking and stuff. He charges people to come out and take a tour of the property. Like I said, it's about a football field worth of hay. There's nothing much to see there, so don't expect like aliens to be walking out at you. but his stories and his evidence. He's a retired school teacher, and he just has like a laundry basket in his shed of just all this evidence, like thousands of photographs that were on his trail cameras. And I will say some of it we've been able to debunk, like just because he doesn't know what he's looking at. But
Mhm.
there's some stuff on there that is, I mean, I have no idea what this stuff is. There's no reason for it. Weird anomalous stuff. He's got videos of orbs going through his field, like dancing. He calls them the galloping lights. He has pictures of things in the sky. I'll leave it at that. He's got all this stuff, casts, footprint casts of these creatures, 5-toed, 3-pad footprints of some weird dog creature, and he's seen the beast itself. Just phenomenal guy. But yeah, you can pay, you can go out there, get a hold of him for tours of the property and stuff, and that, and yeah. So
The fact that he's comfortable living there.
he does not live
Like,
there.
oh, he
He does
doesn't.
not live
Okay,
there.
I
Yeah,
was
I think
gonna say, oh
that
my
was part of
gosh.
what you missed. I think that he
I
has
think I
that
did,
field
bud.
for hay. He just bought it. It's a barn and then like a football field size hay field. He lives down in Illinois, and he just comes
Mm.
up here to harvest the hay for his horses down in Illinois. So
Yeah, I wouldn't want to live there either.
he does have like a little apartment in the barn that he stays in when he's up here for stuff. But yeah, but he does not live there full time. So, but he does have very close neighbors that watches the property. So don't think you're going to sneak onto the property. So.
Of course not.
Yeah.
Have his neighbors reported any activity, or is it really just kind of isolated to his area?
So as far as the weird stuff, he looks for that. He has cameras and stuff all set up for it. The otherwise, his neighbors are all they've all had pretty much encounters or stories about the Beast of Bray Road, the upright canine creature. But as far as like the odd lights and stuff, I think most people just go whatever. I don't believe it, and they don't look for it. They don't care about it. They don't they don't want nothing to do with it. They're all so tired of people parading up and down that road looking for the beast that all hours of the day people are out there looking for this thing, and there's no sidewalks, there's no public property on Bray Road, so the
Mhm.
only thing you can legally do is just drive up and down the road. Otherwise, you're going to trespass. And there's only one area for people that aren't familiar with it. There's only one small forested area of woods along that property. The rest is all hayfield. And so Expedition X came out there and they did an investigation, and they're looking through this woods in their show. And I specifically asked Lee about this the last time we were there. And I'm like, so were they actually on Bray Road? Were they in that woods? Because the woods is on the back of his property. And he does not own that woods. They're owned by somebody else that lives out of state. And I said, did they get, because he's wanted to put trail cameras and stuff in that woods and that, and do an investigation. We wanted to, get permission to go in there. And I said, how did they get that lady to let them in there? And he goes, well, they just went in there. So that's what happened there. But but that's a very, very small patch of, like the average house and property on a city block is about how big that woods is. So it's a very, very small patch of woods on Bray Road, and the rest is all cornfields and hayfields and stuff. So there's not much place to hide there for anything.
Have people, like, has C.A.P.S or anybody tried to kind of map out where these hot activity spots are and see if there's any kind of pattern? I'm assuming you have, but
Well, so that was Linda Godfrey's life work. She started off as a newspaper writer, and she got assigned this thing of this car that was attacked by this dog creature on Bray Road, and she went to the animal control, I think it was, office, and she goes, do you know anything about this dog that attacked a car on Bray Road? And he goes, oh, you mean the werewolf? And he pulls out this huge file of all these reports, and he goes, here, it's your problem now. And she started following up with all this and interviewing people. And, she's written books on books and books on all the reports of Bray Road and things that have happened. And yeah,
I just love that it's your problem now.
yeah. If you read her book, that's literally what she says. He goes, yep, here you go. You want it. It's your problem now. And then she took it and ran with it. But Mhm.
Where's these? Because I probably missed the switch with the tech glitch. Where is the Skinwalker Ranch in Wisconsin?
It backs up to Bray Road.
Okay, so it's all that area.
Correct. Yep. It's basically Bray Road, and then there's woods, and then the other road, I believe it's Hospital Road right there. And this whole area has reports of dogman creatures. And the Burlington Woods, where we were talking about in the beginning of the show today, is actually about 20 minutes from this area. So Burlington and Elkhorn are right next to each other, which is why every time we go down to Burlington or Elkhorn, we do them both because, we just kind of check up, see how things are going, and then, monitor the other one as well. So they're very close to each other, and there's all kinds of other phenomenon and weird stuff that's reported down there. So everything.
Yeah. I feel like there's got to be like a triangle of hotspot activity. And you've got like the Burlington Woods, you've got the Bray Road, and it's like, where's the other end? Where's the third tip?
Right. Yeah. I was like,
We got the
where's
Kettle
all the ley
Moraine down there
lines?
too.
Yeah.
You have the what?
The Kettle Moraine forest, national forest, is down there as well, and that has Dogman and Bigfoot and stuff in it as well. And there's another investigator here in Wisconsin, and he does a lot of work in the southern Kettle Moraine. So I kind of let him do that. We do more of our research up north in Rhinelander and mountain Wisconsin and upper Michigan, which is where I the Hayden Adventure property that I talked about in the very beginning that kind of got us into all this, kind of led this adventure. After our whole thing with Burlington Woods, we reached out to Craig and Barb Salk, the owners of the Hayden Adventure property. And we said, this is what we're doing. I know you don't let people on your property to investigate, just the tours, but would it be okay if we came up there and did this? This is what we want to do. And they said, okay, you can come up for one weekend. It'll be Memorial Day in 2020. And we came up, we did a whole investigation. By the end of the investigation, Craig and Barb said, we really like you guys, and we want you to be able to come back and keep investigating. You guys are respectful. You do what we asked. You didn't overstep anything. And we want you to get to the bottom of this.
Wow.
And so ever since 2020, my team has been up there. In 2020, we were there almost every weekend, once a month, going up there, doing different experiments, trying different things, investigating, getting evidence, getting audio, video, thermal videos, trail camera pictures of these creatures up there, and Bigfoot. So we've gathered all this evidence and stuff. Well, so Craig, the guy that got the trail camera image up there and everything to start with, he got diagnosed with thyroid cancer in November of 2020, and he passed away in April of 2021. And so we worked really hard with Barb, his wife, and we fundraised and we helped out as much as we could and everything as a group, because we, in the couple months that we knew Craig in 2020, we got really close to him. And he is an amazing man and just phenomenal work up there, and so grateful that we got to come and spend time on the property. And Barb let us continue coming up there and wanted us to continue working on this and keep this going. And that's what we're doing right now, because Craig had originally written a book from 2012 until 2017 or 18, I think. And it was documenting every weird thing that happened on the property, all the trail camera images of these pictures of these things that he's gotten, stories of stuff that's happened on the property and everything. Well, when he passed away, he was working on book 2 of this, and it never got finished. His first book was self-published, so it was only for sale at the Hayden Adventure. He didn't have it on Amazon or anything like that. And so when he passed, I got his second book. And I took and with Barb's permission, I edited the whole thing. I fixed, the grammatical stuff because it was a rough draft and everything. I added the stuff that he didn't get finished because some of it was just like an outline of stuff that we had done up there and that, just documenting stuff. And I wrapped up his book, and then I finished with book 3 of everything that happened from when he passed away until this past October. And it just came out this past year. It's called Bigfoot is Hiding. the incredible true story of Bigfoot in Michigan's Upper Peninsula. And all three of the books are in here for the first time together. And you can see everything that happened from 2012 all the way up to 2023. It's over 10 years of documentation, full color book, everything that's happened on the property. And we wanted to keep everything that he's done up there alive and all of his research and stuff. So launching in June of this year, 2024, at the Marinette Menominee Bigfoot Convention in Marinette, Wisconsin, we are launching the Hayden exhibit. And the Hayden exhibit is going to be a traveling museum that is all of his original, like, he took you on a tour on the property, and there's all these signs and evidence and stuff around it. Well, we've turned this all into big stand-up banners, and we've added more information of since stuff that was not on the original tour. So we have all these banners. We have a diorama of the entire property, so you can see where everything happened on the property. And we have audio that you can come in and listen. You can put headphones on and you can listen to different audios that we've recorded on the property of these creatures. And the banners have QR codes. So you can scan the QR code on the banner and you can actually hear Craig talk about that from his original tour.
Oh, that's really cool.
So it's this huge thing. Presentation I'll be doing this year at all the conventions and everything on the Hayden adventure, everything that happened up there, all this evidence in the book. You can get it on Amazon in hardcover or softcover. It's only $35. Bigfoot is Hayden. And if you want a signed copy, you can go to wisconsincaps.com and get a copy of the book that way as well, or at any convention that I'm at. But we just, Craig was so special and just an amazing guy, and we wanted to keep this whole thing going and all of his hard work going and everything. And with Barb was not as into Bigfoot as Craig was, so she couldn't keep the tour going, didn't know all the stories and all that stuff, and she just doesn't want to pay the insurance of having people on the property and that. So the whole Hayden adventure is gone. We're still able to come up there and stuff, but not public. We thought, well, let's take it out to the people. So that's what we're going to do. So.
That's really amazing that you continued and finished his project for him. I imagine that's really special. Even if she wasn't into it, that is special for Barb, knowing that's what his passion was. And that you, like you said, you're getting it out into the publics and respecting that she just doesn't want that on her property. So really awesome that you were able to do that. So how big would you say C.A.P.S is now? I know you guys started kind of sounded like maybe 7 to 8 people on your first adventure. How has it grown quite a bit?
There's about 15 people on our team now.
Nice.
Yeah. And we go and we do everything. We usually pick one big event each year that we go out and do a in-depth investigation into. So a couple years ago, we did UFOs in Wisconsin. So we went and interviewed as many people as we could. We went to all the UFO conventions in Wisconsin, Bellevue and all the different areas that are hotspots. And before that, we did the Mothman one. We were talking off camera about that. We went down to Chicago and we filmed interviews with all the people that had seen Mothman down there and did that. But then our other documentaries are all stuff that we get called to do. So we do private home investigations, and that doesn't mean that it's going to end up on a show. If you need help at your house, we'll come out and help you without, we film it so that we have evidence in that. But if you don't want us to show it to anybody else, we won't. But a lot of these cases, there's something there that is important for people to see. So I'll talk about one here in particular. It's our probably our most known prominent case that we've done. It's our YouTube episode is called Documenting Fear. And we got called to this house in Kenosha, Wisconsin. And they said that there's stuff going on in this house. It's bad. Objects floating, things appearing in pictures. They take pictures, voices. They'll hear like, I'm going to kill you, and all this stuff like coming up from the basement, and just dark, demonic things going on. So we get to this house, and what they wanted from us is it's a duplex bi-level house. And the neighbors of the duplex had just moved out, like shortly before we got there. They don't know why. One day they just packed everything up and left. The family that we were there to talk to, they took everything out of upstairs. They put mattresses in the staircase so that nothing could, like, they couldn't get up there. And they gave the entire upstairs of the house to whatever this thing is.
Oh my God.
They said, you stay up there, you can have it. So downstairs, they packed up all their stuff. This was close to the end of the month. And they said, we are going to take all of our stuff, put it in storage. We're going to go live in a hotel until we can find somewhere else to live. What they wanted from us is they wanted us to come in and say, yes, there's something here, and no, you're not crazy. That's it. That's what they wanted. They had been saging 3 times a day. They had been putting holy oil crosses all over their house in the basement on different objects. We found it all throughout the house of this oil. Every mirror in the house was covered with aluminum foil so that they couldn't look in it. Cupboards were taped shut because things would talk to them out of there.
Oh, jeez.
And it's bad. It is a bad case. And so what happened was we went there. We brought a bunch of people. We had our van set up in the driveway at the time, cameras run throughout the house. We had a guy in the car monitoring it. And we went through the whole house as best we could. We got a little bit of activity on REM pod, ghost balls, EMF meters, little bits here and there. It's not the demonic house that they say it is, right? So we said, okay. We did some other stuff. We have a spiritualist on our team and stuff at the time. We did not have the Ellie Weisensell and Stephanie Lynn that we have now that can do a lot more for people. We do not have the contacts that we have now with other reputable people that can help you. We have grown a lot since this case. So we did the best that we could. We cleaned the house better than what they had been doing with different, minerals and saging and you know what I mean. And so we left and we went through every bit of audio and video and stuff that we had. And that's when we started getting all this stuff. We had audio recorders left upstairs when nobody else was up there. We got a full conversation on audio. So the thing is every one of us, when we go into an investigation, has a GoPro or a full spectrum camera or a night vision camera on us. Every one of us has a microphone, basically. And then we have standalone cameras that stand around the house to monitor different pieces of equipment, so we have, all in all, we probably had like 10, 12 cameras running throughout the night that we were there. So I can guarantee you, I know every single person's location and everything that was said in that house. And I can tell you that everything that we've captured was not from any of those things, was not us. And there's one thing, me and Nico are upstairs, and me and Nico are discussing like the family, like, well, do you think this is just like somebody walking outside, and they're hearing it or something? And there's 2 voices. One of them says, this girl is trouble. And then another voice goes, she is fucking crazy or something like that. Or she is something like that. The other voice, there's 2 guy voices. So that's one. And these are all on the episode again, Documenting Fear on our YouTube channel. And then at the end, we have this full conversation from the upstairs room above their bedroom. It goes to the effect of, hurt him. No. Hurt him now. And then this deep growl. And then, okay.
No. Oh, no.
It gives you chills. Like, so long story short, there's other audio. There's other stuff from the episode that you can go listen to and stuff that we captured there. Weird stuff. Like, my mom and Luke were down in the basement and she's walking from one room to another. And there's this weird audio of something goes beep, beep, like, get out of my way, kind of like beep, beep. We caught it on 2 different audio recorders. And she heard it live there because she comments. She's like, what was that? I don't know. But I mean, it's not like demonic, weird, scary, but like, what is this noise, And we also got like a very deep breath, like a sigh. Just other stuff in there that, is not us. We know that it isn't. And all in this episode. So what happened was the family moved out. And our plan was we were going to follow this case. And when they moved into their next house, we were going to go in, we were going to have the house blessed, cleansed. We were going to bless the whole family, cleanse them, and move them into this house and hopefully have a better start to this. Well, they moved out into the hotel, and things started following them there. And it started to get worse at the hotel then. And at this point, they stopped replying to my emails. They stopped replying to my text messages. And I reached out, I think, 3 times, and they did not reply back. And finally, I texted them, and I texted everybody that was involved in this on their end. And I said, I'm not going to keep bothering you. This is my information. You know how to get a hold of me. If you want help, you want to reach out again, this is, me. But otherwise, I won't continue pushing this. And they disappeared. Up until about a year ago, I didn't even know this was possible, but like on YouTube, you can share like a social media page. Like you can post updates or whatever. And they shared our episode on their YouTube page, and they said this stuff is still happening.
Oh,
So I
no.
reached out to them again. I had their contact information, and I reached out again, and I said, do you want help? I have more resources now. I have better things to help you. And she replied back and said, yes, we want to do this stuff. And I said, okay, these are the people that you need to talk to. This is how we can help. This is Ellie. And she never reached out. So, at certain points, if you guys do paranormal and investigate, there's only so much you can do for people. And at certain cases, sometimes it's the house, sometimes there's something attached to the house, sometimes it's the people. And if the people don't want to help themselves, don't want to take that next step of, it's a matter of being stronger than whatever's there. You have to push it out and say, I am in control. This is my life. You cannot control me. And if they aren't willing to take that step and learn how to do that and push these entities out and protect themselves on their own level, this stuff is going to keep happening and keep coming back. And unfortunately, this is just one of the cases that, we had all this stuff and terrible situation, and there's just nothing else we can do for them, so it's up to them to try and take that next step and get the help. And she said that she'd even gone to a priest and was working with him like in counseling and stuff, and he couldn't even help her. So I don't know if that's she wasn't open to the help or if what the situation was there, but that was the story that I had gotten when I had gotten a hold of her the second time. So
Well, sometimes all it takes is one. And if it's a full family and one individual isn't receptive to the help or isn't wanting to let go of that, whatever that connection is, then it doesn't matter who else wants the help because
yep.
it's that one open individual. So it's really hard without, I guess, talking to the entire family. Did you ever follow up on the duplex itself to see like is there a high turnover of like renters? Oops, I hit my mic. Or anything like that?
We do that before we go to a location. We look at that, and it wasn't necessarily in a great part of town. It was not necessarily a great location or whatever, and there definitely is a high turnover, but I don't think it's any more than the average hotel, or not hotel, the average duplex, a year or two, something like that. Yeah. So
Yeah, that's unfortunate. I hope whatever is happening with them, I hope they're able to get help and that conversation is normalized. Because I imagine if you're experiencing something that intensely, people don't believe you. Like they went to the extent of having you validate, like, hey, you're not crazy. And I can imagine it's hard to talk about that. So hopefully they are able to get out of that issue because that sounds terrifying.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not gonna lie. That sounds absolutely terrifying. If you're to the extent where you're covering up mirrors, that tells me they're seeing things in their mirrors. And if
Mhm.
you're, you know, taping cabinets closed and stuff like that, like blocking off full levels of your house, like that's pretty intense. So I hope it gets
God,
better for them.
creepy.
beyond creepy,
Absolutely.
terrifying.
I wouldn't be able to stay for sure. I'd be like, nope, I'm out.
I'd be having a talk with each and every family member. What's happening? Which
Right.
one of you
Which
is...
one of you started it? I'm joking.
If it went to the hotel, I would say, which one of you is connected? No shame.
We definitely did have that conversation. We had
Yeah.
that as part of it, and there's a little bit more to the story that's more personal than that as well.
Of
But
course.
there is obviously more to the story. But just as a general, and they actually, when we left, everything was a lot calmer. There was more of a peace feeling to the house and everything at that time, and they felt really good. They didn't want anything else to do with this. They wanted to give it all up. They had been recording 24 hours a day almost with their phone to document all this stuff because nobody believed them and stuff. So I got this huge download of all of their videos, all their footage and stuff, all their audio files, all this weird stuff that was happening. And they deleted off their phones because they said that they didn't want that connection to it to bring it back. So I've watched through all their stuff, and there's so much more just like that we didn't get when we were there, of just weird stuff that was going on, and that it was a very, very messed up place. So
Yeah, I don't blame them. Photo and audio definitely can carry that energetic, presence. I mean, John knows that. Like, there are sometimes where they'll show me photos of places that they've been for paranormal investigations, and I'm looking, swiping through like la la la, and then I hit a photo and I'm like, nope, take it away.
Nope, get away. Yep.
I feel like I'm being stabbed in the chest by a ton of needles. Like,
yeah.
So now I just don't even like to look at photos. And I'll be honest, watching paranormal shows like the caught on camera and stuff, most of it I'm like, probably most of that's not I don't want to say real, but it just isn't what they think it to be. But my concern is when it is, because then I feel like I'm hit by like something really hard, and I'm like, these shows aren't for me. I don't want to watch this just in case. But I don't know. I feel like for you, especially going into a place like that where it's probably aligning with like a lower vibration entity based on what they're saying. Do you ever worry that it's going to, attach to you or come home with you?
everyone that did that investigation left with something.
Oh.
And it came home with us for a little while, and we were all pretty much able to get rid of it. But we all had weird stuff. I had scratch marks on my steering wheel.
How do you deal with that?
It's all intent and energy. And when you put the energy out that you can't touch me, I don't want you here, this is my space, and you believe it, you put that intent behind it, you have that energy, that force field, you got to put it out. We have, crystals and things in our houses and sage and, stuff that protects us. And we have a very good team of people now that can clear that energy for us and clear our spaces for us when we leave these investigations. And, it's stuff that you have to learn and you have to believe, because, I always thought this was weird, like the people that, see an entity, whatever it be, Bigfoot, Dogman, ghost, shadow person, any of that stuff. And they say, in the name of God, you cannot harm me. And this thing leaves. Okay, well, if you don't believe in God, if you're atheist, if you're pagan, if you're whatever happens to be, is Bigfoot, Christian, why does God have an effect on him? And this has always bothered me, because why is that the thing? Why is that the go-to? And then I started thinking, well, it's not God, it's the idea, it's the thought. If you believe in God, God will protect you. If you believe in a crystal and you hold that up and you say, this crystal, this onyx will protect me and you cannot harm me, that crystal will protect you. If you hold up a can of soda and you say, this is my God, Mountain Dew, and Mountain Dew is my savior, that Mountain Dew will protect you. Because if you honestly believe that, and that is where you're putting that energy, that thought, that intention, that's real. That's real to you. That is your truth. And it holds energy. It has power. So when you're doing this, whatever it happens to be, you don't have to be religious. You don't have to be, into crystals. You don't have to be whatever it is. You can believe in yourself. And you say, I am stronger. I have the power that you cannot harm me, that you cannot, take over my body. You cannot scare me. I rebuke you. And that will have just as much power to somebody as long as you believe it. And teaching people that when we go to these places and saying, okay, you have something here. We don't know what it is, but this is how you take care of it. Because we can get rid of it. But if you don't have that power to keep it away yourself, something else is going to come back. And that something else might be bigger. Because if we take care of this guy, he's holding the door shut so nobody else can come in here and bother you because he wants you. And now if we get rid of the guy standing in your doorway over here, anything can come in here and you don't know what's going to be next. So we'll clean that up. We'll give you a little bit of breathing room, but now you need to do the work and you need to get that energy, your energy up, your vibrations up so that you can protect yourself. So that's part of what we do. We go around to these houses and it's really interesting to go into some place and, obviously with mediums and our sensitives and stuff, they don't go on the tours with us. So we go through the house and we say, okay, tell us what's wrong. Tell us what's happening. Tell us that. And about an hour after we get there, all my team gets for my Ellie and Stephanie and Rez and my mediums on the team, they get an address and a time to be there. Can you make it? Okay. Yep. All right. So when I say I need you in so-and-so city on this date, can you make it? And they say yes or no. That's it. That's all they get. And then the day of the event, they get an address. So it's not like they can look up information or anything like that. It's I believe in my team 100% that what they say they do because I've seen it happen. So we get there, we do the tour, we film that for our records and stuff, or for the episode if they want us to do it that way. And we take the whole tour. We say, what's happening? Where is it happening? What have you experienced? And then we bring in the mediums. And they walk through and they go, this is what's happening. This is where it's happening and when it's happening. And it matches up exactly what they say. And it's phenomenal to see that happen because there's no way that, Steph, Ellie, Rez, and that can know any of this stuff because they weren't even physically there when this happened. They didn't eavesdrop from the door or outside, they're not even at the house, and we go through and then you're able to make that connection. We had this really interesting case recently. It's going to be on our show coming up this year. And they took us through the house and they said, this is happening in this room. I feel like I'm being watched here. I feel like there's something in that corner over there. Right. And Stephanie came in the house and she goes, I don't like this room. I feel like something's watching me from up there and there's something over there in that corner. And I went, okay, great. That is exactly right. Now, what is it? And she goes, well, it's this. This is why it's here. This is what it's doing. And I went, okay, well, let's call the family back over here and tell them that, and we're done. Call it a day. Because what else do I need to do? We're there to do an investigation to get answers and figure this out. The family doesn't want a whole TV show made about their house and the history of, whatever. We're here to solve a problem. And when you walk in and it was that cut and dry as, it wasn't even a matter of, okay, well, now what do you get over here? What do you get over there? It's this is this. Yep. That is exactly what it is. Now, what are we going to do about it? Well, this is what's happening. This is why it's here. This is what they want out of this. And it wasn't a demon. It was just, this is what's going on here. And we were able to clean it up and the family was happy. Oh my gosh, that makes sense. And then we went on with the day because it was so good having that quality of people on my team to be able to do that kind of work. So
yeah, going back to the Mountain Dew, Ken, it reminded me of the miniseries of It when he has his inhaler and he's like, "This is battery acid, you slime," and he squirts the clown with the, yeah. So like you said, it's all in what you believe.
mm-hmm. Yeah, and if your inhaler saves your life, you're obviously going to have faith in it.
Right.
We're changing our vibration. And when we make that conscious decision to say, I am more powerful, or Mountain Dew is, my savior, like we are putting that energetic vibration out there to be bigger than whatever it is, whatever low vibration might be coming at us. And I think that's phenomenal that you're teaching people along the way how to do that. And I love your description on the idea that, like, yes, we're clearing this, but something else may walk through that door. So build that vibration, raise that vibration so that you take up space and nothing else can get through that door. Because oftentimes, I imagine that's what happens. Something gets cleared, something else comes through, especially if someone's vibrating that low energy and bringing stuff continuously in. You got to raise it up. And so it's great that you're teaching people that. Where's the furthest that you've gone for an investigation?
We're from Wisconsin, middle of the state. The farthest investigation, I think, mileage would be we have an episode coming out this year from the Hagood Mill in South Carolina.
Oh, wow.
We got to go down there for a convention, and we got to do an investigation with Katie Stafford and Jeremy Leonard from 28 Days Haunted, and they'll both be part of the episode in there. We did some really cool stuff, got some cool results in that down there, so that's coming out this year. I'm not sure when. We do 6 episodes a year of our main series. It's C.A.P.S Road Trip, and then we also have Spirits of Menominee is coming out. The first episode came out in January. Second one came out in February, and then the third one will come out in March. That was downtown Menominee, Michigan. We got asked to do a kind of like a paranormal survey of the downtown and for the convention up there and see, there's the Menominee curse, and they wanted to see if there was any paranormal activity because all these stories from downtown. So those are the 3 episodes from that. We have Spirits of Macville coming out soon. Hopefully it's already coming out by the time this airs. I don't know. I'm busy, but it's Spirit of Macville is about the Gainers Tavern in Macville, Wisconsin, and it was originally built in 1877. It has 4 recorded deaths. It was the original general store, blacksmith shop, post office, tavern for the city of Macville, Wisconsin, and it currently is a strip club.
Oh.
And it's been around for almost 100 years, and we got called in as a strip club to say there's weird stuff going on, what happened. And the first investigation we ever went there, lights were flickering, answering questions, and we got EVPs down in the basement, and we're like, okay, something's going on here. This isn't just BS. Now let's look into it. And then we found this whole 100-year history of this property, and it's a really cool location. We offer ghost tours and stuff there where you can come out and investigate, and we have never had an investigation that has not had activity.
Ghost tours at the strip club. I love it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, that should be coming out soon. And then we also have our Finding Hayden series, which is all the stuff that we've done on the Hayden Adventure property, which is the book Bigfoot is Hiding, Hayden with a Y, not hiding. And we have a whole series on that of everything that we've done on the Hayden property. And we also have a show on Paraflix, which is on the trail of undiscovered beasts. And season 1 is all Bigfoot in Wisconsin.
So all of the different series and projects that you're a part of, can that be found on the C.A.P.S website? Like, is it all linked there?
Absolutely. WisconsinCaps.com, spelled out Wisconsin C.A.P.S, C.A.P.S. And you can find all the links to everything there, all of our social media platforms. And you can also go just to YouTube and search Wisconsin, the word C.A.P.S. And it's all on there. You can Google us, find us everywhere.
Do you have merch, like swanky merch I can get?
We have some merchandise that you can only get in person at our conventions and stuff that we go to, and our speaking tours and that. We have some stuff there. We sell like paranormal equipment and that you can get there. We just don't want to do it online because it's too much work to do that. But we do have an online store on our website. You click on Shop Our Store, it takes you to our TeePublic page. And TeePublic, we upload graphics and stuff, and then they print it and sell it and share it. And you can get hats, T-shirts, mugs, tote bags, stickers, magnets, anything that you can put our logo on. All of our T-shirts and stuff are available on there. We actually just added a couple more things. We have a new shirt that has it's got 2 ghost balls on it, and it says, "Is there anyone here with us? Can you please touch our balls?" So,
oh, that's funny, John. That's a you
I
shirt.
love it. Yep,
that's our
a
new
me
shirt this
for
year.
sure.
So.
Yep, I gotta get it.
Well, awesome. Barnaby, I appreciate you coming onto our podcast today and dealing with all the tech issues we experienced. You have so many amazing stories to tell, and would love to have you come back on if you're open to that, to share even
Absolutely.
more. Do we have any final thoughts before we wrap it up, fellows?
I would like to say just the same thing I tell everybody at the end of podcasts. I am so grateful for the community of the paranormal people and the cryptid people that are out there. All your TV stars and stuff that you meet at these conventions, they're all amazing people. Every single cryptid person, Bigfooter that I have met at a convention, I am personally friends with. I have had on my show. They're very open to share information and stuff, and the paranormal people as well. There are so many great people out there, and I have met so many of them that it's just an honor to be part of this community and this field.
Thank you. That was very nice.
Thank you.
Last question I have before I have John close this out is speed round. What's your favorite cryptid?
Well, chupacabra.
Ah, yeah, me too. What about you, John?
I don't know. What did I say the last time? I don't even remember. Probably Bigfoot, but Mothman's right there too. We'll say Mothman.
I'm a chupacabra all day, every day. All right. Thank you again, Barnaby. All right, John Thomas, you want to bring us home?
I do. Yes, thank you again so much for coming on. It's been a blast, and I can't wait to have you back on for a part 2, or in a 3, and a 4, and a who knows how many, however many we can get you on.
Right?
Glad to be here.
Heck yeah. And thank you to all of our listeners for listening to this episode of 3Haunted Podcast with your host. I'm John Thomas.
I am Ashley Lunar Goddess.
And if you have any questions, comments, or episode suggestions, please feel free to email us at 3hauntedpodcast@gmail.com. And if you haven't done so already, please like, follow, and subscribe to all of our social media. You don't want to miss more amazing guests like Barnaby Jones.
Until next time.